it's another special stream, another special night, because we have a legend of the Solana ecosystem, Nicky from Degenerate Ape Academy. Welcome home, bro. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time, because I know you're busy. Like working like as the CEO of like the Degenerate Ape Academy. I'm pretty sure you're busy, man.
Yeah. There's some weeks are extremely so. Yeah. This happens to be one that's, it's only Monday, but this week and the last few have been a bit more. But that's a good thing, right? Sometimes it can be busy because things are people are less excited or more grim, and it's a harder time, and it can be busy that way. This is the good busy, right? Where you have so many new users and there's so much hype around Solana and DAA that there's a million different directions you're getting pulled in. So this is the fun busy.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like Degenerate was like the first ever NFT project minted on Solana, right? With like the candy machine, right?
Yes. So the candy machine was kind of coined and created during our mint back in August of 2021. There was a couple mints that were before us, but they were all technically not like Solana NFTs at the time. That's why you'll see like a lot of Gen 2 things from before August 2021, because they were minted, right? Then post after that, right? Basically everything was changed with DAA, and then everyone moved on to that standard after. So yeah, it's not super controversial to say that we were first.
That's and you will be the first one forever. And that's cool.
Appreciate that.
And like honestly, what happened since that mint day then? Like since August 2021.
Yeah, so it's been over 2 years, so it's been a very long time. There are very few NFT projects, not even just in Solana, but just in general, that have been alive and lasted that long, right? I think we're past that. Like it's weird because you don't always want to compare this to like the normal startup world, because it's so different. But even from like a normal startup perspective, like lasting this long, I think we've proven that we're here to stay at this point. But yeah, there's been a lot of change, a lot of ups and downs since all the way back then. But we're still here, and now it feels like we've been delivering at a speed that's faster than we ever have before. It took us a bit to get it all right, but we're actually now like firing, I think, to our full potential.
So 2024 will be exciting. And we have V. Welcome home. Let me put you on frame. That's gonna be better. Let's go. Okay.
Ooh, hi. You are frozen. Hi, Nicky. Sorry I'm late. Technical difficulties. My bad.
That's okay. How are you doing?
This is in the world of Web3, everything's back to back. So I've learned that always give everyone 5 to 10 minutes on each end.
Yeah. I'm not usually late, but I guess everybody says that when they're late. But thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor. Thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And by the way, I forgot to say hi to the chat. I'm too excited for this stream. What's up, Ryan? What's up, Michelle, Jazz, Steph? Hope you're all guys. Everyone's doing great. And let's continue. Okay, so now you are ready, like to going to the moon, Nicky. What are you cooking? What are you up to?
What are you up to? So I've gotten this question a good amount, so I've kind of got the answer. I've got the answer pretty ready for you guys. So I always talk about like our two-pronged approach that we have going on right now over at DAA. There is like the short-term gamification, revenue generation and items like that. Then there's the long-term building up of the IP. What we've been really working on the last 6 months is getting things to a point where all holders have something to do constantly, right? So that's the gamification aspect. And they also feel like they're being rewarded. They feel like there are things that they can interact with and engage with on Twitter and Discord and all of that. Also things that are bringing revenue into the company, to keep us alive like any other startup. And then once that those goals have been achieved and all of that's sustainable, then you can start to focus on the long term, which is like the IP licensing deals. We're working on things like an animation and TV and media and all of that.
That's cool.
So I'm thankful to say that after been 6-ish months of trying to get to notch that the short term part of that, we're finally there. We've got trait packs that we're dropping every month, thanks to Degenerate Ape Herself, which is our mutable version of our NFT. We have Harambe auctions that are ready to launch very soon. We've already showed a lot of our holders that it's already working and ready to go. There's just a couple design items that we've been working on. So that out there with Herself, with the trait packs, and then also our tech side, the Opal Industries, which we launched something called Hodlers today, which is another tech tool we came up with. Having all that up and running allows us then on the back end to take our time and building up, the IP side, which might take, 3, 4, 5 years, right? It doesn't work the same as Web3 does on the on building up the IP and the brand like that.
It's always tricky, right? Like to implement big things with like the IP side of it and like the attention lifespan of all those and like Web3 participants, like juggling with that, it's tough. But
yeah, it is tough. And that's why, like I said, it's taken us a long time to figure out what the proper approach was. And I've seen a lot of other projects make similar mistakes to us. I would say that we have made this same mistake on both ends, right? Where it's first, when we first launched, it was all about like, okay, holders are asking for this, let's give it to them. Yeah. And maybe it costs $100,000 to deliver that thing, but it's like, okay, they're asking for it, they want it, you deliver it, you spend the money, and then they're like, okay, what's the next thing? And you're like, ooh, guys, like that was a lot of work and it was really expensive. What do you mean, what's the next thing? And that's like, that can be like the issue with some of the short-term stuff. So then, you take, let's say 6 months, a year to do something that's more long-term focused, right? Like trying to get a comic book made, trying to get a TV show made, trying to work with Web2 partners on, merch to get, like you just saw OK3rs launch with Zara. Like you think that happened in 2 weeks? It takes a long time. So when you do something like that and you're only focused on that, then the holders are like, are they rugging? Like, why aren't they doing things? So that was why we took all this time, 2+ years to figure out, okay, it has to be a parallel approach. They have to be happening at the same time. It has to be forked that way, where it's like, okay, give them something. You don't ever want a holder or someone new to come in and be like, hey, what's there going on? What's there to do? So here's all of this. We've got this funnel of traits coming out. We just launched Herself. We're launching tools all the time, launching auctions every month. You have all this to play with. And now we can work behind the scenes on the long-term side without all of the, the fussing and the upset and like, okay, what are they doing? What are they up to? Are they rugging? Are they this? Are they that? Give yourself the space, right? So it takes a bit to get them to work in parallel, but I think we finally achieved that.
And like for someone who wants to join the academy, like what is it gonna get? What's happening? Like how do you onboard new user? But also like what can someone expect from the project now?
So I think a new user is almost, and I mean this humbly, you're almost spoiled a bit because for V1, for anyone had the OG NFT, like I said, it was a lot of little things like here and there, not a lot of clear direction at times. There's plenty of months at a time where it's like, okay, what do I do with this? Now when you come in, there's something very clear to do, right? So let's say a normal user path here would be one of 2 things, or one of even 3 things, right? You come in and you're like, I'm going to grab one of the OG DAAs, right? Or you can go ahead and grab one of the DAAs that's already been ascended, right? So let's say you grab the V1, you go ahead and you ascend it over to V2, and now you have a mutable NFT that you can kind of play in our gamified world with. Head over to one of our pack drops for the month, or you head over to our trait store, and we have a very gamified, volume-controlled allocation of traits. Essentially, the first of its kind. Like we just launched our bonk trait with the bonk guys, and we raffled that off. We've got a really cool pack dropping this week, but there's not just this unlimited like swap all you want, take things off all you want. It's a very limited supply of traits that we unleash in a very calculated way. So you're able to go in, equip what you want to kind of basically get your own version of a custom, right? Get things that, work with you and kind of represent your digital identity. And then once you're done with that, you make sure to go and stick it in the opal mines. Opal mines are created in-house. It is non-custodial staking, but it's 4 points, and it is the first point system to work with PNFTs. And then every day between, your V1s, your higher self V2s, and then also your drop bears, which is our other collection, who mines the most amount of opals, you'll know you'll be getting rewarded every day. And then you can take those opals that you get, and when we launch auctions, which are some of our rarest traits, you'll be able to take your opals and bid all the opals you have on the really cool traits coming out through there. So that's at no cost to holders at all. You go in, let's say there's 100 of a trait available for auction, top 100 bidders win that trait, and then it's to you to do whatever you want with. I think that with that piece, there is enough there where if someone just gets in, it's like, okay, there's plenty for me to do. There's plenty for me to show off, and there's plenty to talk about, which is an important feat for us to reach at this point.
Oh, that's definitely interesting. Yeah, because personally, I have that with DA. That's my first project I bought. At the time, it was September 2021, and I bought 4 apes for 13 soul, and the first time I took my profit was at 70. That was cool. I sold 100. I was happy. And I remember when you launched the website with the whole school in 3D on the website. Bro, that was banger, man. Your execution of your team is top notch. That's for sure.
I appreciate that. Design is certainly our strong suit, and we the team came up with a new website recently. The last few months when we launched V2, I think the new website is really cool. It works really well on mobile, which was big for us. We needed a website that worked better and worked smoother on mobile. So we have that now. And basically anyone who gets into DAA can go to our website without watching any explainer videos, anything on Twitter. They can go there, see all of the icons at the top. If they spend 30 seconds clicking through each one, you'll see basically everything you can do with either your DAA V1, your higher self, or your drop bear right there.
That's amazing. And you have part of history of Solana. Yes, V, what's up?
Oh, I was just going to say that every time I think of another question, because Nicky has answered every question I've come up with, he answers the next question I come up with.
That's my fault. I talk too much on these.
No, not at all. No,
it's all yours, bro. That's why you're here. We want to listen to you. And in the chat, I'm curious, did you already interact with the part of the Degenerate Ape Academy? What's your own experiences with the collection? I'm curious about that. So leave us a comment. I want to read that. And okay, so what did you learn since 2 years building the first ever project minted on Solana? Did you remember anything that we should have done that differently, or that we killed the game when we did that? Do you have an experience to share with us?
Yeah, a ton. And a little bit of background on me. I was a regular minter just like everyone else, right? I came in to mint DAA as my first Solana NFT mint. I didn't know too much about crypto or Web3 at that point. I actually failed to mint it. I tried to mint it on my Solid wallet. Didn't work out for me. So I ended up buying a couple on secondary after. Then I kind of I followed along and tried to be as helpful as possible over the next 6 months or so, just as I was a holder, just like everyone else. And from there, I just got more and more involved. So I was able to watch the team, first from the outside looking in, and then I was able to see it as a strategy guy, a partnerships guy, and now all the way up to CEO, and watching how the team has evolved and changed over that time. So, like I said, early on, I think it can be a little tough with an NFT project specifically, because there's such a pro and con to having holders, because you have this group of thousands of people that are rooting for the success of a startup at a level that you'll never see normally, right? But they also are your biggest critics as well. So it's okay, you have all these people that are pulling for your success, which is huge, but also it's they have demands, they have expectations, right? There's accountability that's there. So, as I talked about earlier, the biggest shortcoming I think early on was, again, just short-term appeasement without thinking, what are the long-term implications, right? It's like just, okay, they want this, put this out there. And it's like, okay, guys, what's the plan for after this? How do we build off of this? What's the next thing? And I feel like we made that mistake like 7, 8, 9 times. We did that a bunch of times. So now you have to think, okay, everything that you learn from that, you say everything you put out either has to have something else that you're already working on for right after, or that thing can't just end. It can't just be like, okay, we sent you this, enjoy it. It can't, you can't have that. It's like, okay, how does this evolve? What is the next thing you can do with this? How can you on a random Tuesday go in and interact with this and get some sort of dopamine hit from that? Either, interacting with some sort of gamified mechanics, trying to get some sort of rewards, or even just a digital flex. Like, how can you take this thing and flex it over and over again, right? How can you continue to play with it? So that's like the biggest change, is now every single thing we do needs to have long-term thinking. It cannot just be here's a quick shot of dopamine for you guys. Now you just wait for the next thing. Have to get away from that mentality.
It's tricky as fuck, right? Because like you have all of the process of speculation when you announce something that you're gonna do for the next 3 to 6 months, and then you have an event that's gonna last for 2 hours because like you launch a new website and you do X, Y, Z, and then it's over. Like you can take like still a timeline for 1, 2, 3 days, 1 week if you're lucky, and then back to square one. Like if your floor price doesn't move, if your volume doesn't move, it's tough.
Yeah, and that's another game that you learn not to play as much. Is like the you put something out there and holders like, if you guys do this, the floor will go up.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, we'll try this. We don't really know what will happen with the floor, but we'll put it out there, and then maybe the type of change doesn't happen that you expect, or even sometimes some people, not just us, projects will launch things and the floor will go down. I have learned that there are so many things that come into what the floor price is that I think the team and we don't really worry about it too much anymore. It's just like put together products, right? Put together experiences, put together brand growth that we're proud of, and kind of just let it happen from there. I know holders don't always love to hear this, but we truly do not control the floor price. We have no control over it. Like when you even think about that you always end up getting burned. We just have to keep making a bigger name for ourselves, growing more, bringing more users in, good experiences, and just kind of let everything else speak for itself and fall into place.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Go for it. No, go.
No, I was gonna say F is in the chat saying we are pretty chill. Yeah, you're pretty chill, but also people know that I'll roast you on YouTube if you're not. So somebody came in complaining the other day on one of our streams, Nicky, and I roasted him.
Yeah, I don't think chill is a good description of Solana and NFT holders. I don't know if chill would be the word anyone would use.
I will say that our guys are pretty chill for Solana NFT holders, but they're a great group. But yeah, they also kind of know. They also kind of know that, like, I'm not nasty, but I will have fun with you.
and that's very fair. Well, it's good to know you guys got a chill group, but I think not being chill is also one of Solana users' biggest superpowers. Yeah. The fact that Solana has a market cap that is so much smaller than something like, and not anymore really, but so much smaller than something like Ethereum.
Thanks to inscriptions.
Solana manages to lead, in so many metrics and stuff like that. It's all right. If it's your next question, I won't talk about that anymore. But I do think the community here is insane.
Bro, now the goal is to keep the conversation organically, right? So we can come back after. So if you want to focus about Solana, if we want to talk about Solana, we can do it. It's cool. So okay, Solana versus is.
I do have a question about Solana actually, though. Was there ever a time, because I know you're one of the OG projects. Was there ever a time where you thought Solana is not the move? Did you ever consider moving to another chain, or was it always just straight out Solana is it for us?
Yeah, I'm happy to be honest about this one. Absolutely, the conversation happened, right? Mm-hmm. We had built something that we felt was so much, we had built something we were very proud of, and was, is really bigger than anything. We wanted it to succeed no matter what. So to not explore potential other options when things at least got bad. It would be foolish, I think, is, for anyone in leadership at that point. You have to at least explore it. The conversations have to happen. But at the end of it, we really we explored it. And we said, like, Solana's home. We saw that even in the darkest hours, that not chill community that I was talking about never went away. Like, I would say even, Twitter and Discord weren't as popping as they are like right now, but there were always still thousands and thousands of people that were active and were like, we're not going anywhere. And this is, we still believe in the tech of this chain, and we know it'll come back, and users will come in. And we made the move, which I think was pretty risky at the time. Maybe seems like a no-brainer now, but we made the move to just, hey, we're going to leave, we're going to leave ourselves tied to this ship for better or for worse. And I think that it's paid off pretty well.
It's a survivor bias, right? Like when your plane is coming back, then you're like, okay, this one came back. But like, if Solana would have been like $5 and we were not that far from that, that would be, and never like come back or like came back from 5 to 8 to 10, whatever. That would have been tricky, right? Like, but like the recent surge of like from 8 to 70, that put confidence back to everyone on the Solana chain. That's what we are here. Because like, price is a sexy metric for newcomers and like external people that watch the chain, and also like for insiders too. So could have gone both ways anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's interesting because I try to stay away from the speculation, whether it's NFTs or the tokens themselves. But there is no denying that every digit for Solana up or down, it almost directly correlates to influx of new users or people calling it quits and leaving. And I tried a long time to ignore that and be like, I don't think that's a good way to build a business by focusing on something like that. But we've given in. It matters. The price of the token matters, as long as it's not just like people FOMOing, but like having it maintain a price point where new users are flooding in. People feel like they can recommend Solana to others to come play around in, while not feeling like they're screwing those people over. And we're for sure right now at that point where it's like, okay, everyone feels very comfortable. There's a significant enough market cap that it feels like Solana is going to be here for the long haul. Like you said, it wasn't always like that. There was a time where you had to really think deep, like, okay, like what's going to happen here long term. And not talking for us specifically here, but I'm seeing some of this, but would like to see even more of it. Is you see like how many OG projects have been here for 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years. I hope they all get like the flowers they deserve for like sticking through it, and not necessarily like not moving to another chain, but at the darkest points, like continuing to work on this when there was no money in it is crazy. And the fact that like all the big projects did that, like they kept working on it throughout like a horrible bear market, it's kind of nuts. So I hope they all get their deserved flowers.
It was a massive bet, man. Like, because basically if that's like, we went from like 250 to $1, like all of the company that we've built on Solana would have been wrecked, and end of the game, right? Like, so was a big bet.
I have a question. So as somebody who didn't start as the CEO, kind of worked up the ranks, do you think that I mean, I'm sure it makes your experience different, but do you think it gave you an edge in any way, or how do you think that differs from just being there from the beginning as the CEO?
I think it's a huge advantage because I've seen perspectives of all sides, right? I've seen the perspective as a holder. I've seen the perspective of a mod in Discord. I've seen the perspective of a mid-level employee. And then I've now seen the perspective of, steering the ship. I think that's really important, especially where, founders that are coming into this space, like this is so brand new. So if have only been a founder, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, how could you see the perspective of someone like an NFT holder, it's been a huge advantage to be able to see it from all sides. And also like DA holders know, like if they're talking to me, I'm not just some like random founder that like, oh, you know, like he might rug or he might do this or he doesn't really care. It's like I was literally just a DAA holder who thought that the art was really cool and wanted to help out. And it's also really cool that the, you know, the OG team was able to, you know, like recognize like, oh, okay, like everyone is really good at something in our team. And we had people that maybe were incredible at art or incredible at, you know, engineering and building contracts. And it's like, okay, like if we have someone that can do the things that aren't our expertise and let us focus on what we're good at, like think about what we can accomplish. So a lot of recognition to the team, you know, for seeing that. I think you have a lot of people in this space who maybe at least early on were in over their heads, right? Whether it's an artist or a dev or a designer or whoever, who are now trying to run a company. You know, it can be tough.
Different jobs, huh? And like, which position is the most comfortable?
Which is the holder or folder?
It definitely pays to have a team that, you know, listens and stays in their lane, but also knows when to step out and say something when, you know, they see something going wrong.
That's for sure. And like, what would you say, like, what's the mission for, or like behind like the Degenerate Ape Academy company is? Like, what's your big focus? Like, so you have your whole studio animation, etc. But like, what would be the mission?
I mean, the long-term mission is simple. I think our characters hold too much weight. Like people really love the characters, and we need to make it to a point where people are seeing our characters and not even knowing anything about, you know, Solana or NFTs or anything. Just seeing these characters and, you know, kind of falling in love with them because they're goofy. They allow us to kind of let loose a bit, right? I found that I think DA holders and drop bear holders have a specific edge to them on Twitter because they're behind, you know, this Degenerate Ape PFP who, you know, like I said, is goofy and funny and corny and all of the above. So I think right now the goal is just to continue to bring them to life and just let new people fall in love with them, you know, the way that, you know, I did 2.5 years ago, right?
Yes. And so like the goal is to go to Walmart and sell thousands and millions of apes.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, we're producing toys, we're producing comics, we're producing TV. We're firing off animations faster than we ever have before. That's not going anywhere. We want to build up a social media presence over on Instagram. I've been talking to the Klano team a decent amount. I think they're truly masters at their craft. You know, they know far more about building like you know, animation and Instagram reels over on Instagram than we do. So I've been talking to them to see how we can improve on that. Yeah, and getting all these items out there. I've said to our team and I've said publicly, like I want to be a Comic-Con worthy brand, right? I want us to be, you know, at a Comic-Con the same way you'd have something like a Rick and Morty booth, or you'd have the creators of Rick and Morty or Family Guy or whatever talking about their show and their characters and their merchandise and their animations. I think we can achieve that, and I think we can achieve it all while not saying, "Hey, holders, you have to just wait for 5 years while we build this." Can't do that. I think we can do both at the same time, and been pulling that off lately.
I mean, you can do it, but by saying like 6 months, and then it's 5 years, and then you build your stuff.
Yeah, no one's gonna wait that long.
True, but how do you manage that? Like, because even like the cost of production for an anime it's massive, right? Like it's like what, like 20,000 a second, 20. I don't know. Like that's what I have.
Animation is a world that I knew nothing about months ago, and now I know way too much about.
That's cool.
Yes, animation is extremely expensive. I've learned that when I can see an animation now, and I can like in my head think like, okay, how much does that cost to make? You got to pay attention to things like, hey, is there items in the background? Are there multiple characters moving? Is the face animated? Because that's like the most that's the most costly and difficult thing to do. So yeah, you'll see from the stuff that we put out, like sometimes like maybe we don't have a bunch of things in the background, or maybe we don't have like 6 different characters running around, right? Very costly. But what I will say is our team is very scrappy. We figure out to get things done for a cost-effective way. We'll figure out We'll figure out deals with partners where they can cover costs on things. We'll figure out things where there's revenue share, or maybe it's an IP licensing deal. I have done with this team anything you can think of to get something done in a cost-effective manner. You can't just say, oh, hey, we don't have an animation team. We don't know how to do this. Send $1 million off to a team to just build it for you. That's a disaster. That's how you end up spending a ton of money with nothing to show for it. So yeah, you have to be scrappy in this space the same way any normal startup would be.
Yeah, and it has to be time effective as well, because animation takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. But luckily, our OG founder and now creative director Mono, he has learned a lot about animation as well over the last few months. Cool. So he's able to take, a rigged character, and he's able to take, if everything is already animated for him, he's able to create these renders that are spectacular. So he's grown so much in the last 2.5 years as well in his own talent and skills. So yeah, we're building a bit of we're getting more and more into animation, and our team is learning more about it as well. Yeah, we're going to keep going in that direction for sure. People seem to love it.
Nice.
Honestly, like mono art impact on the whole ecosystem is crazy. Like all of the zombie trait, like Mac whatever collection you have, all of that is coming from his art, and then like everyone copycat what he has done for like the DA. It's crazy. Like this guy is a fucking it's good. He's a fucking legend. Love him.
Yeah, he's extremely talented. We know that. We have an awesome team, but I would say, without a doubt, like there are 2 members of the team that are truly savants in what they do. We have Mono, who you see on 3D art. His ability to render animations that maintain his style, his ability to create traits. Like think about like teams struggle to make a handful of traits for their their 2D project. Yeah. Not only has he done traits for V1 and then drop bears, and also help with trash pandas. Now we're pumping out. I know everyone hasn't seen them all, but we're pumping out like 5 to 10 additional traits a month, and it's him. Like he's the secret sauce there, and every single one has to look like. Ideally, you need to be able to see the trait, which sometimes might just be a jacket or a hat. Nothing like not a full bonk suit, right? Not a full dragon suit, not something that's crazy DA, something very simple. Someone needs to be able to look at that on a black silhouette and say, oh yeah, Mono made that. That is not easy. And he accomplishes it in a way that feels effortless, which is exactly how it should be, but I promise it's not. And then also our lead dev, V, has been firing in all cylinders. V was there from day one on the mint and is now still with us. And he said he calls his ADHD a superpower, and it truly is. Like he'll get something on his mind that he just wants to like build, and I'm just like, hey V, have at it. If you can find a way that you can put it on the site and it's cool for holders, like go for it. So he's another savant, big time.
That's cool.
He doesn't like when I say this, but I think he's one of the best Solana devs that there is, period. And I'm hoping that he gets more flowers and recognition the more that he puts out. But he built Opal mining, which was, again, first time PNFTs could be staked for points. The whole point system was created by him. Our auction house, which utilizes those points, all built by him. Now this Hodlers app where people can, get holder lists of any collection on Solana instantly, all built by him. It's really cool. And we're going to be utilizing him more in the future as well, since we started something called Opal Industries, which is like our tech arm. So it's like a different company, but it's under the DAA brand and logo and all that. And basically that's going to allow him more to just come up with ideas and fire things off and just provide more tool sets for holders and the rest of the eco.
That's cool. Like the impact of your team is like it's insane. It's crazy. Like it helps to be first, but it's always good to have those guys on your side. That's cool.
I'm very lucky with that, and making sure that they have everything they need, and that their skill sets are being utilized in the best way possible, and not asking them to do things that are like not what they enjoy doing, basically, is that's my job at the end of the day, right? They're good at something, they enjoy doing it, so it's my job to say, okay, do that.
Make that life easier. Yeah, that's cool.
Sounds easy, right?
Yeah, but it's not. And in terms of business, okay, so after 2 years, like we have seen like obviously like the bull market of the NFT plus like the last 1 year plus of like a crypto winter. Like how did you survive? Like what was like the stream of income that you had like to get still be alive now and ready to the next wave?
Yeah, so I'll say I said we were scrappy before. I truly meant it. Very, very scrappy. Getting things done for as cheap as possible. There's some things that you think, oh, they must have spent this on that, but we actually did it for free. We were grindy and we were scrappy, and we kind of did whatever it takes to survive. But that's kind of the point with knowing that, or not knowing, but hoping and believing and having conviction that Solana will come back. And that worked. And we got the double whammy with the bear market, since with things getting worse, royalties also went away. And everyone was basically able to swap over to PNFTs and enforce royalties. But our OGs, the V1s, were immutable. That's part of being one of the first. So we couldn't make a change. We couldn't enforce royalties on them, and we still can't. So even a little bit of royalties that would be trickling into other projects, we weren't getting that. But that's where innovation is kind of born, and that's where V2 came from, right? We're like, okay, how can we get people onto an NFT that we're able to enforce royalties on, allows us to gamify every second of being a holder, and also maintain, the OG status that comes with the V1, and that's kind of where the idea of V2 was born. And then the last piece of that is just everything we do has to have a story behind it. So we can't just say like, oh, okay, we need to enforce royalties. We need to make things mutable so people can play within the trait system. We can't just post that and say, this is what we're doing. There has to be a reason and a story behind it. So we made animations where, where the Degenerate Ape is licking this opal that he found in the mines, and that transcends him into V2. And think about how much that ties in. That ties in the drop bears that brought the opals in, that ties in our opal mining platform, that ties in V2, that ties in being mutable, like having it all come in. We have comics that explain that. We have animations that explain that. You have to be a storyteller, right? If you're trying to build, a character-based brand. So I think we had to innovate ourselves around a tough situation, and I think we did good.
That's because the Gen Ape is like really based on the character itself. So it, like this storytelling makes sense 100%. That's one of the core features. That's cool. Like that. And like back to the royalties, like what's your take on that? Like should NFT have like royalties, or is that like a nice bonus for creators but it's not monetary at all?
So I remember when the controversy first started, especially like in the middle of the bear market, having to kind of hold your tongue a bit as like an NFT project, like saying, okay, like is it too controversial to say like this is insane? Like what's the point of NFTs without royalties? But now it seems in the bull, everyone has kind of come fully back around where they understand that royalties are necessary. The V1, they're immutable. It is what it is. But everything going forward, if you want to support us, the most, that's why our focus is going to be on higher self and drop bears, because that's where we get supported. It's not that like for the royalty support, it's not like it's not like we view it as donations or like forced donations or anything like that. It is, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of founders who I've spoken to, it's how you sell, and I don't mean specifically selling the NFT, but the idea of NFTs to anyone 100%. Outside this space. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense, right? The whole point and power of the non-fungible tokens and the NFTs was that you have all these artists from outside this space that are getting absolutely crushed and screwed, whether they they sell their art to a huge brand, and that brand goes off and makes billions of dollars with their art, and they get their $50,000 payment for making it one time and they're out, or music or anything, right? So you had all these artists that rushed to Solana because it's like, hey, I'm selling my pieces one by one, or I'm licensing them to others and I'm getting screwed left and right. And now it's like you're telling me that I can put my piece out there, and every time people resell it, like I get paid for being the artist, like my percentage. Like that's the whole point. Otherwise, you just create a regular character collection, right? Or just a group of characters and just make a story. There'd be no point in having it be an NFT. Why else would you do it?
Yeah,
absolutely. That was my whole argument when royalties went away, was provenance is why NFTs were really started. Like that whole concept of the artist or the creator getting their fair share every step of the way is so important to me. I mean, whether I'm the artist or the buyer of the art, I want them to be, treated fairly, compensated fairly.
Yeah.
And it aligns the incentive too between like the team, like the community, like that's why Decod3rs was like a free mint, right? Because so you can pay whatever, but like if we do a good job, then we can pay ourselves with like the royalties, and then like everyone is happy, right? Like you get free shit, and we get like rewarded for a good job that we can do with the collection. That's all story makes sense.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like. No one can maintain this full time without any revenue coming in. That's a failed startup, right? A startup that has no revenue. So I think people were feeling pretty down about all of it, and now that it's all better, I think everyone has like kind of come to their senses a bit on it. And a lot of people were always there, but the few that were like, no, like, we already paid for the NFT. Like, why should we have to pay a royalty? Like, that's just being greedy. And I'm like, I promise, like, again, I know all of these founders personally. None of them are like, oh, like we need to get our last dollar from every single one of them. No, they need to pay. People need to pay their artists. They need to pay their devs.
Exactly.
They need to pay their mods. They have to pay the whole team, and they have to continue to build. And if you have big expectations for the project, all those things come at a cost, right? Maintaining a company and building and bringing in new users. And just like you said, it's the perfect way to align incentives. And it's also the perfect way to explain the whole point of NFTs to anyone outside this space.
It's a easiest narrative.
Don't take that away.
Oh, exactly. It's a easiest narrative ever. Like, it's a fucking image, and when you can pay royalties to the guys who draw the fucking image, that's it. Point. That's it. Job done. Then that's But like on ETH, that's a problem. But now that they have to solve. But we did it. We did it first.
That's right.
Yeah. And so trade swap, because I'm also interested by that. Like, how does that works with like the Degenerate Ape Academy? Like, can you switch trades that you want, or it have to be the same category of trade? Like, for example, you have different variation of trade, or you can switch from what t-shirt to a coat or whatever. Yeah.
So happy to explain the trade swapping that we utilize boots for. So essentially, like there are slots, right? So there are slots for every trait. So a less complex example would be like the Terminator themed, we'll call it, jacket that Mono showed off today. Now, how can you get this? So let's say it's either put in a pack and people buy a pack and they have to get lucky. Let's say that's the one they want and they get it. It's pretty rare. Or we can put it in the Harambe auction house and people can bid their opals to get it. So let's say it's in the auction house. There are only 20 of them available. You were lucky enough to have enough opals, right, to get one of those 20 that's available. And now you want to hop into boots and you want to add it on to your ape. So basically, let's say you have on just a regular, Degenerate Ape classic t-shirt with the logo. You're able to then, for what is essentially free, I think it's pennies, like 10, 20 cents or something like that. You're able to take, right, that, I love that you just posted in there, perfect. You're able to take that jacket, swap it on to the same slot, so the shirt slot, and then swap the clothing slot that you currently have off, being the regular t-shirt. Now that t-shirt that you just swapped off, you can do whatever you want with. You can give it to a friend, you can put another ape, whatever, totally up to you. But an important point in this is it is not a free-for-all. It is completely controlled for how many traits are out there at a time. Someone who has no traits cannot make any changes to their ape. There's nothing for them to do. Either you go to the marketplace and buy some, they have to get some from the auction, or they have to get some from a pack. So basically, every time we add traits into the ecosystem, it's 2 layers of gamification that are coming out, right? Because if we put out a new helmet, not only are those 100 helmets now out in the wild for people to play with, but the 100 items that were already stuck on, right, an ape's head slot are now able to come off when they weren't before. So now those are out in there as well. I think this is a very important distinction, because what you want to avoid, and we talked about earlier, is you launch something, everyone plays with it, and then is done with it, and everything is already out there and swapping on and off. It has to be slow. It has to be controlled. It has to be long-term, right? And we have let's say there still has not been a teeth trait, for instance, that's ever been there. So anyone who has teeth that they want to change, they can't. So at some point, likely maybe it'll have to do with something that happened on Solana, or something like Bonk, or we did our totally trait with the dragon. Some current event will happen. We'll create that trait, in line with that current event. We'll find a way to distribute it, packs, Harambe, raffle, whatever. And then when those able to get swapped on, now there'll be other teeth traits that can finally be unlocked and swapped around with the apes.
Okay. So we're on the right track then.
Yeah.
Because the way our traits work is like, let's say we had a booster pack for this interview. So we had a DAA trait. It can only be collected if you're watching this stream live.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. I think that I know we're going to go a similar direction on a few things, right? Like I know Plano does this. We do this as well. Having a reason to be somewhere, a way to claim something. If you buy a piece of merch, having a trait come with that. Maybe if you do a DAA sneaker, having a QR code on the DAA sneaker where you now are able to put this special sneaker as a mouth trait right in that slot. This is a great way to, again, further gamify, further incentivize, further reward. So yeah, you guys going down that route, I think that's the exact way to do it. For instance, we have a comic book that we're working on with the D-Reader guys and an unnamed studio who we will eventually reveal with the start of that. And then there's a whole, you'll see, that'll be cool. We are for sure going to do a trait or multiple traits that align with that comic book. So it's like, okay, if you come to buy the comic book and learn more about our story and what we're trying to the story we're trying to tell to everyone, you won't get just the comic book, right? We can make it so you get the comic book and a random trait that is aligned with that story that we're telling. And now it's a massive additional incentive and reward to come get that. So maybe people who would normally have not been interested in reading it, maybe they just want the trait, so they'll come in and get it for that reason. I mean, it's a superpower in a way, right? It's something that we're able to do that not many others can do the same.
No, exactly. And I think like the fact that you can bring your NFT the way you want, and like you can like select one rare NFT that you have, one ape that you have that's more rare, and like you assign a new trait to it, then it's become like ever more valuable to the people who want to collect the asset. And that with the whole NFT narrative, that's cool. I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been cool examples that are similar to that. I think one of my favorite things that has come with this new meta we've created, and again, we haven't released that many traits yet. We have 100 in the library ready to go, but like I said, we have to do a slow drip. One of the coolest things I've seen is for some of the traits, like the bonk trait, which is like a full, have you guys seen that? Like it goes over your head, it fully covers you. For that one, yes. And we also have we have D12, which is kind of similar to like an X plus. All the D12 members got their cult robe, but it's not a cult, don't worry. And that covers basically the entire ape. So it's a clothing slot, right, where it fits onto your shirt, but you have to have everything else with what is technically a naked trait equipped. So basically we tokenize naked, which is the coolest thing, because now there's this massive demand for something like, if an ape doesn't have a hat on, people will pay a premium to get that no hat, right? Or if it has no mouth trait, people will pay a premium for that. If it has no glasses, people will pay a premium for that, because they know they need these slots empty so they can equip some of the rarest traits that cover almost the entire ape.
That's cool. I like the robe is nice.
Yeah, the robe is sick, but it's difficult to equip. Again, sometimes people get annoyed with, but it's like, hey guys, it shouldn't be instant. Like you should have to keep playing in our ecosystem. Now you have it. We gave it to you, right? Now it's like, can you get it to a point where you can actually equip it? It's not just this instant, like, oh, I got it. Now we're done on to the next thing. Here's something to play with, you know?
That's cool. Okay, I think we need to create like the Illuminati of YouTube, so we can have a robe, a Decod3rs robe like that. That's cool.
Well, I mean, you know, my glasses are in demand, so you can have several things that you have to do to get it. Because I already told them it's going to be a lot of views or it's going to be a lot of work. So I have custom glasses from a previous project that used to be my PFP. So any custom PFPs I get, I at least make sure that it has the glasses. And a bunch of people have asked for that. And I said, it's going to be, I don't know if I'm even going to allow it. But if I do, it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of views.
Exactly. So watch the show, like and subscribe and comment.
I do have a question. You've been talking about opals. Did you never use Raindrop protocol or did you replace Raindrop with opals?
So we've always interacted with Raindrop, and technically, like when you come and use our trait system, there is like the contracts that power Raindrop are used mostly in Boots. Now the actual Rain token itself, by using Boots, like you get some from that, but there is no Rain cost to interact with the system. You want it to be as easy as possible, right? It's literally like Solana, like that's the simplest way to get people to use things, right? But you do get some Rain from using it all, and all of the contract work that was built with Raindrop protocol and Boots and all that that's like the infrastructure of the entire trade swapping system.
That's cool.
I talk to the Boots guys every single day. Right now, the big thing that's being worked on between us and them is basically making it so we can get packs seeded with traits as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then also something that you might think would be simple but is not, is every time Mono creates a new trait, like there are layers to that trait, like the art has to fit, and you have to basically in real time take that image and overlay it onto another image, right? And it can't be janky, right? Like your glasses can't be on the side of your head, or the Bonk costume can't interfere with another trait that's already on it. There is a lot that's happening there. So a lot of it was manual to start, and Boots has been working hard with us to make it so basically it's like auto detection, and it's automating a lot of that process that was extremely manual. With that being unlocked and things only taking a couple hours versus a couple days, we'll be able to release traits at a much quicker pace.
Okay, so if you have glasses that like touching like weirdly like some uniform and some stuff, then you have like different variation for that trait that match with everything, and Mono draw that manually all the time. I know you have like an app to auto detect that.
So there's a few things you can do there. There are variations you can create. That is something that is being worked on, to have traits that change based on other traits being detected. That is not launched yet, but it is. It's literally just called variations. It is something being worked on. The way we do it right now is we'll basically set rules that certain traits can't interact with other ones. So it's like if you have like a beer hat on, for instance, there are certain things that a beer hat doesn't work with. So like you can't have those traits equipped, or maybe there are certain traits that only work when something else is equipped. You need to make sure that is there. And if it's not, if the rules aren't met, it won't let you use it. And you now have to play, right? And you have to trade with others, or open packs, or go to the marketplace if you want to get your ape to the point where you can add that trait on or remove it.
That's cool. Okay, can you white label your trade swap application, please?
Boots?
No. Can you white label the trade swap app?
Boots is basically white labeled.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah.
Anyone can work with Boots, but I would say that like what has been built, like for us as, and I say this like humbly, but I think it's massively improved. Like they've massively improved us by allowing us to offer this. And then by us innovating and saying, hey, I think this is what holders want, and then them like spinning their wheels on how can we offer that. I think their system has improved massively from that.
That's cool.
Yeah, you've been the beta testers basically. And
exactly. We've been like the beta testers, and now there's been a lot of changes made there. So I guess you should reach out, or if you need to connect, I'm happy to make it.
I will.
Ryan, I got a handle on the boots guys if you want. Ryan's asking, will there be customizable vinyl figures like Pudgy Penguins?
So we have a really cool toy partner. I'm trying to think about it. I have said the name a few times.
On
YouTube, I've said the name a few times, but I've done it usually on like not recorded spaces. We'll be announcing it pretty soon.
Okay.
Who we're working with on it. We're gonna start with non-vinyl, and then and of course, again, you put that out there. You attach a really cool trait to it, right? That makes it much more rewarding to go out and get. And then we're gonna work on vinyl stuff with them after, as long as it does, but as long as it doesn't totally flop. If there's demand and people want it, then we'll work on vinyl figures with them after. But yeah, we're working with a pretty cool brand that is for sure not Web3, and has a decent following and a nice name for themselves. So it'll be really cool to get that out there.
Amazing.
That's exciting. But I mean, we are already running overtime. Sorry, Nicky, about that. And I know you're busy, so we have to wrap it up. Now. But thank you so much for your time, and really appreciate that. That was like a banger stream. I hope everyone in the chat, you enjoy all your time together. And Nicky, do you have anything that you want to let the Decod3rs community on the apes in the chat knows about it? Like any takeaways from the stream?
Yeah, the takeaway is, if you're not following DAA on Twitter, I recommend doing that. We're going to be showing off new traits, basically multiple each week. Follow along on our auction platform to see what we're releasing there. This is an attention economy, and we think that our traits that we're releasing nonstop can help win that attention economy. So just look out, pay attention, and anytime you see a new trait, if you love it, make sure to let Mono know and retweet it and all that.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna ask your last two questions, or do you want me to?
Just wrap it up. We already no more questions.
Okay.
No more questions.
We're done.
Okay. Well, no,
so
we know that your time's tight, Nicky. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat, follow Degenerate Ape Academy, follow Nicky account. You have all of the links in the description. Just do that, and buy an app. It's nice collection. Thank you so much, Nicky. And if you want like some attention economy, you can come back on this channel whenever you want. You're home now.
Absolutely. Let's get a DAA trait next year.
Exactly. Yes, that's what we want to do. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you in the next stream, which is like in 1 hour. 1 hour.
Yeah. Another stream in an hour. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Nicky. Bye.